to the boys 2 mile. And this might be our prep event of the night as we get ready for the boys 2 mile. As we look down the line, we have a group of 24 entered. And there he is, starting on the far outside. New Balance indoor champ at 5,000. Is 5,000 going to be his ultimate event? He's got some business at shorter distances. Greater High, Central Point, Oregon. Tyrone Gorze chasing Pre's 2 mile mark tonight. Next in from Jesuit, Gus Clevenger, a senior, as an 825 seed mark. From Milwaukie, that's Logan Law, a senior, another Crater teammate. And this guy is a point getter at the state championships, Josiah Tostenson. From Newburgh, hip number 6 is Anthony Geish. From Forest Grove, Jason Friesen. From Menlo in California, Justin Pretree. And here we go at the line for the start of the boys 200 and another horde of fans on the track. And this is the real potential history in the making. And let's see what the setup is for Gorze. Does he have lieutenants out there who are going to pick up the pace? He's usually a strong runner. He'll run up front. Let's see what the strategy is early.
No, Bob, it's always a challenge for every athlete when the pressure is put on and the statement is made and the emphatic goal, breaking Steve Prefontaine's high school 2 mile record. Many have tried, many have failed. Is Tyrone Gorze the man to do it? I think today is setting up to be incredible, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's been a little behind the scenes action to get a little bit of pacing help through this race.
And the field stringing out nicely. And you know how these races go, and we've seen this before. There's guys that just want to be in this race. They're not going to win the race. They want to say they were there. And I noticed we have a number 25 who was not an original entry. So is this the pacer? There is no number 25 on the entry list or on the start list. So I think that's our answer.
Well, even if his job was to pace, he's already done. So Gorze is out there. He's going to be doing it by himself. You know, Bob, one of the amazing things to me is it is a small school. Crater High School in Central Point, Oregon, has birthed an amazing slew of athletes. And from my perspective, starting way back in the mid to late 90s with Brian Berryhill, and then continuing on with the Max Kings of the world, and coming up with my era of athletes, of course. But nevertheless, it has never stopped, even through different coaching regimes and everything. But Gorze now out there, he's ready to get this thing done. He's going to have to do it by himself, and the fans on the backstretch are just going to have to help carry him there, because there's going to be no wind breaking or pacing to help him whatsoever. Again, 8:41.5. The special mark we're looking for. Again, that's Steve Prefontaine's state mile record from 1969.
Those first 2 laps, 2:08.86, so he's running 63s right now, which is 3 seconds better than anybody else. Brody Hartley of Walla Walla in second, Logan Law is third. Well, you know, part of what I think is behind the Crater excellence, you know, for years, they were one of the smaller schools in the old Southern Oregon Conference, which was the big power league, everything south of Eugene. And you had Medford before the school was split. You had Roseburg, who were athletic monsters and everything. And Crater had a big chip on its shoulder. You know, Central Point's right next to Medford. And it was Black Tornado this and that. And Crater's teams, and I was working down there in the 80s, there was a big chip on the shoulders, and Crater had good athletes. You know, middle-of-the-road football teams, they always had good throwers. That was their track landmark then. But then in the 90s, that shift to the middle distance, and then when Crater became a 5A school, they really carved out their niche, and now they have put athlete after athlete out on the track and have this huge success in cross-country kind of placing they put up there. So now This is a power in multiple sports, so they have made this their own. And of course, Central Point has grown as well, too. A lot of people live out there now who might have lived in Medford in the past. And we'll get our next split now. We're waiting for the timing to catch up, but look at this crowd on the back stretch. And I love this. We've seen this. This is starting to get into a lot of meets. We see this up in Canada at Guelph at the Inferno, where they'd run the Canadian 10,000 with fans on both sides, which is pretty scary. And waiting for an accurate split right now. Here's a 4:19. Timing is a little off for the moment, so we will hold off on speculating. We're showing 4:20 with 4 to go. That's what's displaying. So he's gone 103, 105, 106. Rob, how good are you at math?
Well, he's up on it, and ultimately what we're looking at here is he might be just a shade off the pacing. I don't want to speculate on the the mathematics exactly, but what we're looking at is something still pretty impressive. The fans are on the track. The athlete is out there, Gorze doing it everything by himself, which is always wildly impressive. But remember, when Steve Prefontaine did this, he also did this by himself in a high school only meet. So this is, if he's going to break it, he's got to do it the right way. There's a lot of tradition in the state of Oregon, and especially as it relates to Steve Prefontaine. And if his name is going to get removed from the record books, it can't be with, Gorze running with a bunch of collegians or chasing down other rabbits. He's got to do it by himself. He knows, what it's worth.
We're showing 5:13 with 3 to go. That last split, if that's correct, split of 53, that would be pretty amazing after a 66.
I think they're working out some split issues with the clock out there.
Yes.
A little bit, but needless to say, I think that he's doing okay. There may have been a couple slowdowns in the previous couple laps, but I'm not going to look at the clocks on the results page for accuracy on splits at this moment. The interesting part to me here, though, Bob, is like all these other athletes, they are gritting, and they're so far back, but they're still going to run incredibly well relative to their states and their lists and their conferences. But Gorze is just in a world of his own.
Gonna be 2 to go at the line.
And there it is.
6:34 with a half mile to go.
It's possible, Bob. He's just got to run about a 2:07 to crack that barrier. 2:07, maybe 2:06 and some change is really what it's going to take. No doubt Gorze can do it. He's a heck of an 800-meter runner as well. Don't let the fact that he's a distance runner fool you. He has foot speed.
Yeah, that's 2:63s, and he's done his share of that. Looking at the last 2 splits and averaging it out, that 53 was pretty wild, but he was running 62s then for the last 2. So he's right there again. He's slowed down a little in the middle.
The trick here, Bob,
his motion, his arms look exactly the same. He doesn't look to be in any distress. And he's going to get the bell right now, and we'll get a real clue. His Breeze record from 1969 going to fall at Hayward Field. 7:42. He's got to go about 58 to make this work. The spotlight is on. The pride of Southern Oregon. Tyrone Gorze, he's got a back marker there. He may have to step around him. Talk about having the crowd in your ear right next to you. End of a stretch. 100 to go. He's going to come pretty close to this and is going to be proud of this number. Gorze, your 2-mile winner, 8:46 and change. It's 8:46.5. He is your U.S. leader for 2023. And his teammate, Tostenson, comes in. He's second fastest in the U.S., 8:58.13. This will, of course, reset the whole leaderboard of the U.S. Logan Law, 8:58.99 from Milwaukie. Garcia Silver from Marshfield, fittingly, Prefontaine's home school, 9:01.86, finishing fourth. And Gus Clevenger from Jesuit, fifth, 9:02.48. So that's 5 of the 6 top American times in the 2-mile. And the U.S. list continues with Brody Hartley, Spencer Bradshaw, Anthony Geish, Sten Brackstad, Mason Weisgerber, Justin Petrie. Petrie, a guy we've seen come up through youth ranks. He PRs with his 9:16.15. So 11, the top 11, have 11 of the best 15 times in the country this year. Well, here's how it started. He got his separation early and was on his own the rest of the way. But he's a front runner. He's used to this. And he is calm inside his mind. Get that shirt signed now. You may want that later. You know, that's about the size of the end of the track, but the Stop Rupp shirt made its debut. So we'll hear from Gorze in a few moments once he congratulates everybody in the building and thanks them for coming. We have 2 more 2-mile races to come, and these will be freshmen. And there are all the numbers from the feature 2-mile varsity run.